Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. If you want to succeed in business, actually in life, you have to have great communication skills. Everything is about communication. We're social creatures. We relate. We have relationships. The way we relate to people is by communicating. Wouldn't it be great if you had an edge on everybody else in terms of your verbal skills? Well, you do. Found her. She's your secret weapon right over here. She's got the verbal edge. That's the name of her company. And she is a communication skills author, trainer, mentor, advisor. And she joins us today. Elizabeth MacDonald is here on the program. Welcome. How are you?
I am fine, Steve. It is great to be here.
Wonderful.
I'm eager to experience this with you.
Yeah, there's a lot we're going to learn today. I'm going to just tell everybody that coming up, we're going to give you tips on how to prepare for networking. And if you're in business and you're not networking, you're missing out. And I know that a lot of people kind of shy away from networking. I did after COVID. I kind of put the brake on it because it was COVID. And then after, it took a while for me to get back into it. However, that's how you connect with people and you further your business and yourself and your life. So in terms of what you do, Elizabeth, verbal communication is everything. Do I have that right?
Oh, you have that right. It is. There are so many statistics that say if you are, well, my favorite quote is from Jim Rohn. That is, if you only communicate, you just get by. But if you communicate skillfully, you can work miracles. As you and I both know it. I was in broadcasting also, as you are right now. And there's so much of a difference. Words are so important. Think of what's happening politically or whatever. They could be charged. And I do a lot of workshops. One is the power of words, and one is ask fascinating questions, which I'm going to touch on just a little bit. You're going to be excited about that, as will be the people who are watching, public speaking, etc. So you and I know the people listening and watching will believe that.
I just told a friend yesterday who was going to a business meeting, and it was like the first meeting and the proposal's coming today. And she was all stressed out, had anxiety. I was like, relax, ask questions. That's it. Ask great questions, engage them. You're halfway there.
Yes.
But you have to think that way.
Yes, absolutely. What I'd like to do is run through something. I'm going to call it advanced networking, although it's going to be excerpts of 3 of the workshops that I teach. But I thought, what would people really love? What kind of nuggets? And I'm going to start with something you're going to think, oh, this is so basic. Why is she even starting it? But on the way to anything you're going to network, please make sure you have business cards. I went to 3 business networking important events in the last 3 weeks. I went to several, 3 times. People just said, oh, wow, I left my business cards at home. Well, there goes that option. Unless, of course, we have a digital business card, which I'm not going to go into, but also a good idea. The other thing is think of what we're going to say beforehand, because if anyone is like me, whenever I'm listening to everybody else, or maybe not listening to everybody else, because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to say, it's stressful. But this way, know what you're going to say, and then take along something that you would wear that might be your business badge, or know that you're going to wear one. And so that's before you get there. And then when you get there, you deliver it. And we all go to networking where we have to stand up. I mean, it might not even be networking, and it might be at a wedding, or it might be at a family reunion or something, and we stand up and we say something. And the first thing is, please don't start with my name's Elizabeth MacDonald, because it actually communicates we don't know who we are or what we're going to say. So please practice just saying the pause, and then introduce ourselves. And here are a couple tips beforehand. If you are in a place where you know everybody's going to be introducing yourself, please sit on the outer edges, not in the middle, because if you stand up, you're either going to have to be twirling around, or you're going to have, as you know, people right behind you. And if it's outside, which we did, I went to some place a year ago, I couldn't even hear anybody because of the wind, because they were all standing the other direction talking. So stand by a wall, go over by a wall. It's even better if you're at the beginning at the front or the back, because then everybody can look at you and you can just look at them and you don't have to do these things, even if you're at the wall. Make sure the wall has no windows or you will be in silhouette. And I, as a reporter, actually did silhouette a few times when people wanted to be anonymous. So we turned off all the lights in the house and stood in front, had them stand in front of a window. So we do that, and then we introduce ourselves and do it. I'll tell you, self-talk is important. Envision they're going to love what you're going to say and you are going to have a good time doing it, and do that on the drive there. So just say good afternoon or whatever, and then just say, I am, and here is the big deal. I am Elizabeth MacDonald. My company is The Verbal Edge. Pause between your first and last name, say it slowly, because a lot of times I don't know when their first name begins and their last, or ends, the last name begins. And also enunciate every syllable. We have all been there where somebody has said, hey, Elizabeth Knopf with The Verbal Edge, da 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 da, and that's it. And you're thinking, okay, they threw it away. And guess what? What will the viewers do? And the listeners, the people in the room, they will throw it away too. It's not important. They don't. And so say it with importance. And then anything you say in a 30-second or 1 minute elevator speech or commercial or whatever they're talking about, it's all about the people. It's not about us. So if you have something for them or for someone they may know, always add that. Say what it is. And you can start with a statistic or a question or something like that. You have to make it short. And then at the end, the perfect way to close this is to say, if you have any questions, I'm back in the back room or whatever. I'm Elizabeth MacDonald, The Verbal Edge. And smile with that. I know this sounds so elementary.
It doesn't. I get it.
I worked with a doctor for 15 minutes of consultation, getting her to just say her name and her business. She couldn't do it. Right. Go ahead, Steve.
The sitting on the outside is a great idea. Didn't even think about that. And I want to add to what you're saying. It's okay to talk slow. Many times we think that, oh my gosh, if I'm talking in your brain, it sounds like this. I'm talking very slow right now. But in reality, you're talking at a normal pace. So don't overthink that. And I love what you had said about saying your first and last name slowly. When I introduce people on a radio, on a video, I say their name slowly. I want to make sure I have it right. So absolutely. These are great tips. It's not rhetorical. These are good.
Thank you. And it's important always in a professional situation to say your first and last name. What I didn't say at first is when you have your name tag or you get a name tag, I have one. Oh, here it is on my desk. I wear this everywhere because I love it. It has the name of my business, my name, and what I do. But if you don't, then when you prepare your name tag, please be sure to put, as you just said, your first and last name. And then if you can get your business name, please do that too. And put it on your right shoulder, because that's the shoulder that you shake hands with. And if people aren't real sure who you are, but they know you, but they don't want to say what's your name, they can just glance down a little bit, see that name as they're shaking your hand. And this isn't what I was planning to do, but this is important too. Always use their names. And if you forget it, don't make a big deal out of it. Just say, remind me of your name. And some people say, oh, I always forget names. I'm so embarrassed. And then they have made a big deal out of it. But just say, remind me of your name, and then make sure that you use it. I do that all the time. I want to call people by their names, but first and last name. And if somebody was named Ashley and you tried to find Ashley in LinkedIn, forget it. There's a billion Ashleys. So it's important. And if somebody did a newspaper article on you, they'd call you by your first and last name, the first paragraph, and the rest of the article, they would call you by your last name. Last names, please, last names. Even if you're married.
I want to share one thing based on what you said when you're opening up. So let's say a networking group, they always go around the table, the room, whatever it might be. Hi, my name is, my company is, this is what I do.
For you,
right. But to your point of giving them something and asking a question, let's say it's your business. You say who you are, and I'm going to focus on communication. You say who you are, what your business is, and then ask a question. How many of you here have gone on a job interview and didn't get it, or went to a new business contact and nothing happened correctly? And then start with, did you know that 65% of the time, many people don't communicate their message effectively? And then go from there.
Perfect. Perfect. I'll add a couple more.
Sure.
How many of you are insecure when you're standing up and talking in front of others? Or you've been hired at a place and they really didn't go over your email skills that well, and you're nervous because you might be making mistakes, but you don't know. Well, and then I'm your person.
Exactly. Exactly right. Yeah. Yeah. So it
Oh,
puts it on their plate.
it sounds like we practiced this beforehand, and we didn't.
I network. I
know. I
kind
know.
of do
You're
it.
a professional.
And it's fun. It's fun.
Yes.
Once you get over the anxiety, maybe the nervousness, then it turns into a social thing. All right, here's a great one. 2 nights ago, I was at a venue by a beach. It was a great outdoor, it was a taste of, our area. And I'm talking to a guy. You can't make this stuff up. And he's connected with somebody else. And as we're talking, I go like this. There was a drink on the bar. I spilled it all over. And my reflexes are really good for stuff like that. So I jumped back. It nailed him, got on his pants a little bit, on his shoes, and they served up another drink. The problem was it was like a pink drink for somebody. However, that was what we talked about the entire night. And he was looking at his shoes and they were like suede. And he was like, oh my God, my shoes are gonna. Half hour later, it dried. You couldn't even see it. It was like it was like invisible ink, but it turned out to be the thing. But things are going to happen. Yes, I spilled a drink. I'm sorry. And it was a full drink too.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
You run with it.
And actually that makes, if they're not angry, it does make for fun. Or, oh, you know what? I remember you. You're the person I spilled a drink on.
Right. He was in a break. He brought it up to people that came up to him. Like, yeah, you spilled a drink, but it's gone. Yes. I don't know what happened. What kind of drink is that?
If we can, the more we can relax, the more we can connect.
Yeah.
And all right, say we're at a place where we're just going in and it's free range. We've talked to people. And by the way, for introverts out there, you are the best at interacting, and don't worry about talking to 14 people or something. If you talk to one or two, that's great. But if you talk to no one, you are going to be perceived as being aloof. And I know you are not aloof, those out there listening. So go to somewhere, just say anything. Hey, I like your dress, or I like this, or didn't I see you somewhere? How about that presenter? Something like that. But if it's cold thing, what I used to say is, what do you do? And then I kept getting things like, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, or I'm retired. And I felt that very bad. So now I'll say something like, what are you working on right now that you're really excited about? And that could be a CEO who's making a scrapbook for his kids, but the interaction is going to be exciting. And then here is one thing I teach when I ask fascinating questions, and this is so important. Think superlatives. What was the most? What was the best? What was the most exciting thing? Or if a person, all right, friend of mine was with a date with another couple, and the guy with her said, hey, how was the wedding? 10 minutes later, she had to kick him in the legs because he's on his device. He's not listening to the answer to the question. And it's because he didn't ask the right question, because that guy started, well, we left home at 6:38. Then we drove 26 miles and we went to, I don't know, they were halfway through the wedding when he did that. And what he should have said, and people know that open-ended questions are best a lot of times, unless, of course, you say, did you kill that person? Which I did when I was a reporter, and that was an important time to ask that question. Anyway, back to what I'm saying, open-ended questions really need to be specific, as in, what was the best part of the wedding? What was the weirdest? What was the most surprising? What was the most memorable? And they're going to, oh, wow. And what happens is a lot of times they haven't even enjoyed it that first time. And when they talk about it, they enjoy it again. It is thrilling. So that's 2 cues: is ask most, best, and it could be anything. Children, dinner table at home. What was the best thing about school? What was the weirdest thing? What was this? Instead of, how was school? Fine. So anyway,
I do it with my daughter. And that was the pinnacle point about 2 years ago. She's a teenager, and parents always ask those questions. How was your day?
Fine.
Well, what do you think? Fine. Right. So I engaged her at one point and I said, what's it like to have the best hair of any girl on the planet? And right away, I did it differently today, and I'm thinking about doing a different color, blah, 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 right away. So you're 100% right.
Yes,
Works.
exactly.
It works.
so then after that, there are also rules for merging in and out of conversations. And I don't know about you, one of my biggest pet peeves are I'm talking and somebody comes just walks in and starts talking. I was this close to connecting with someone about possibly doing workshop with them. A person just interrupted. What we need to do is I stand about 2 feet away, and actually couples are even tighter. A lot of times they're talking about things that have nothing to do with the business at all. It might be something personal. And so what I do, I'm hearing jingles here. What I do is I would wait, and I will wait for them to give some kind of an idea that they know I'm here. They'll eye contact or such, and then they will open up if they want me there. Now, I did this once with two of my very good friends. I hadn't seen them. It was after the pandemic. I thought, this is wonderful. But they hadn't seen each other, and they were really immersed. And I stood there for a couple of minutes, and they didn't open up. And I thought, I am going to let them talk. And I walked away because that was my gift to them. I didn't want to interrupt. So if we merge in, we wait to be invited. If when we merge out, we will say things like, I like to merge out by summarizing, saying, well, Dr. Smith, I thoroughly enjoyed what you said, especially that. And then we say something about that, so he or she knows you're listening, and you say something like, well, I promised I would talk to at least 6 people tonight, so I better get going and then here's the business card. Here, I found one. And then you ask, may I have your business card? And then afterwards, and then when the person gives it to you, here the person's giving it to me, look at the business card, validate the person because they are the business card. And then you ask, may I give you my business card? It's not just here. The importance of the business card is the person. So that's another way to do it. And then follow up, which I'm an extrovert, and it's proven that extroverts are lousy at follow-ups because we had such a good time talking to people. Who cares about calling them?
I can't believe you're saying that, because I don't think I'm an extrovert, but the other night I got business cards and they're sitting right here, and I haven't emailed these people just to say, hey, it was great meeting you. This one is, sorry, I spilled that drink. I haven't done it
that's
yet.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes.
But thank you for that reminder. I have a question.
Yes.
You're in a conversation, could be a networking event, whatever the situation. It's time to move on. Now, you met them, you had some dialogue, it was good. You want to work the room. How do you end the conversation?
One thing, do not interrupt the other person to say you have to leave. Interrupt yourself. So when you're talking, then instead of just saying something important, and then say, I need to go out. I see my mother-in-law over there, or I see whatever. Or you can say, and one more thing, I have so enjoyed talking to you. That person will know you're ending it. But what if he says, well, so then when I designed the nuclear reactor at such and such field, oh, that's nice. Hey, I've got somebody over there I want to talk to. They feel cut off. But if you're talking and then you add that, then they don't. So I love that question. I'm glad you asked that question because I forgot to say that.
Do you need to give them an excuse? Like, for example, let's say you're talking, you're in conversation. So yeah, and the nuclear reactor is fantastic. I got to run over there and talk to somebody I just saw. It was wonderful talking with you, and definitely catch up. Do you have to give that excuse of why you're leaving? Could you just say,
no, because they're all there
to
talking network.
with you.
And chances are that person didn't know how to end it.
They want to go too.
Yes. And the food's great. I think I'm going to have some more. But I do want to emphasize that even what you did, you went back and said, hey, that nuclear reactor. Oh, I see. That's right. You put a little sentence in about the nuclear reactor and went right to the other, which is sort of buffering it. But it would even be better if you had said something about something at the end and then say, and I need to tell you, I have loved talking to you, and and it's usually, may I have a business card? That'll signal something like that. And then we both got 90% of the time, they're both ready to go talk to somebody else because we know they're busy and they know we're busy. But, but once again, if they're saying something and they're into it and you're next, or my next comment is, well, I need to go get something else, or hey, do you want my business card? And I need to leave.
Yeah.
That is embarrassing, and people really do feel interrupted and dismissed.
Yeah. Just cut to it. It was wonderful
Yes.
talking with you. May I please have your card? That's how we know how we're signing off. It's okay because we're there to meet other people. So yeah,
Yes.
thank you for sharing that. We don't need to give an excuse. Just move
Right.
on. Just move on.
And do say, especially, I enjoyed, you had a little
Yeah.
bit longer sentence, especially I enjoyed what you said. So you will be talking and then you say,
Yep.
and that a little bit more. So yes,
Excellent. Sure. How about some other tips? Networking, communicating at events with people, things that we should know, be mindful of.
yes. One of the things, and you touched on it, is know what you're going to be saying. Oh, the other thing is be a good listener. Oh, and I have so many things. Look them in the eye. Don't look over the shoulder and see who else is there. Watch them, focus on them. And then when they're talking, say things like, wow, you were frustrated and excited at the same time. Tell me more. Repeat some of the words so they know you're listening. So many times when people feel listened to, and who knows, the person you're talking to may be looking for someone just like you to do something in your field. And she has just seen what a good listener you are, and a person who asks questions. The other thing is to stay away from the word why, which I used all the time in broadcasting, but it was like, so why did you wear that shirt? I mean, oh no, there's a better way to say it, like, well, tell me the story behind that shirt, and it goes from not judgment or from judgmental to tell me about this. And the more interested we are in other people, the better. And smile.
Mm,
Be energetic in everything. So they will remember you. I'm picking on you, Steve. I'm sorry.
it's
But
okay.
I'm talking to everyone, but I will say you as Steve, and you and people who are listening and watching, they will remember you so much more by the way you treated them. Remember one time somebody had just gotten into a new job, and I asked a fascinating question. I said, what was the biggest surprise working for Brotherhood Mutual? And he said, oh, and this is what you're going to hear. Oh, I never thought about this. He said, oh, everyone I talked to wanted to spend time with me and helped me with things and did this and this, and they were so kind, and they took me out to lunch, and he was effusive, and he hadn't really thought of it until I said that. And it was exciting because I didn't know that part about Brotherhood Mutual Insurance and how nice the people
Mm,
were. It was wonderful. So if you can
yeah.
ask those questions,
It's about the energy, and it's always been said that people usually don't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you made them feel. Back to the drink. I just remembered something after spilling that drink. After that happened, the energy, and I'm big on energy, reading the room, we're all energy. People came flocking over to where we were. And it wasn't about the drink. I think it was just about the energy of something that just happened. And I want to go back to a word you shared a few moments ago, story. Everybody has a story. Even if you get somebody's name and it's an interesting name, like Christiane or something, two names put
yes,
together. Yeah, that's an interesting name. Tell me the story behind your name. And usually there'll be a story behind their name. It's not like, I don't know, my parents just gave it to me. No, it was probably passed on from somebody else or whatever. Everybody's got a story. So love that tip.
I love that. I ask that a lot. Tell me about your name.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll say, I don't know, I never asked. And so I want to say, tell me why you've never asked. No, but I don't say that.
So we have a few minutes left, a few short minutes. One more tip, quick tip, laser it, go.
Okay, all right. All right. I'm going to go with ask fascinating questions one more time. Let's see. Uh, okay. One thing is when you say something like how's business or whatever, be more specific. Right after the pandemic, I said, how has your business changed in the last year? And all of a sudden, people started coming around because they wanted to know that.
Love it.
And then I will ask them sometimes like, oh, what was the best thing that happened to you? Or what was the most exciting? Or what was the most surprising? Or what's the most common misconception people have about your business? Or one of my personal favorites, what is a question you wish people would ask you, but they just don't? And then here's another one. What is the question that you get so tired of people asking you? And that is when you get into the fun part. Oh, they're always asking me this. I wish they wouldn't. And then you say, what do you wish they asked? I have done that with so many people, especially when I teach this workshop, and the stuff that comes out, even from friends, I just wish they'd ask me. And this one person who was very staunch and very businesslike, he said, I wish they would ask me about my sons. And he teared up.
Whoa.
And it was, oh my gosh, no one knows that. Nobody knows that. Nobody went that way because he was that kind of person. And so that was an important thing.
This is just a piece of what you offer in terms of helping people with their communication skills, engaging, all of that. Again, just a piece. We're just centering on networking today, but there's so much more, and we'll get to that next time we get together. Elizabeth, how do we find you?
We find me at it's very easy, Elizabeth. Well, my website is The Verbal Edge. My email is Elizabeth@TheVerbalEdge. And then I have a telephone number. I usually give an 800 one, but heck, let's go right to the cell. 260-433-3734. I teach a lot of different workshops. My background is teaching English and also being in broadcasting for 13 years.
Yeah.
I also have written a book called Sharpen Your Verbal Edge, 101 Tips to Enhance Your Professional Communication Skills. I love working with people, consultations and or workshops, either in person or virtual, as long as 20 or 25 people, because I don't do websites. I mean webinars, workshops, so I can see everyone and we can talk. And it'll be anything from public speaking to email formatting and writing to dealing with difficult people and phrases to say, etc.
It's all of this. So critical. Communication is it. Doesn't matter what communication it is. I just want to add, it's theverbaledge.com.
Yes, it is.
.com. Yeah, you didn't say .com, so I want to make sure it's in there. We don't miss it. No worries. No worries.
Oh,
well, by the way, it was great.
You were listening to me. Thank you for listening to me.
It was great meeting you. What's your name?
It's quiz here. Elizabeth MacDonald. And just to really confuse everybody, I love the name. I love the nickname Liza, but you won't find me at Liza anywhere. So Elizabeth MacDonald, MAC, capital DONA.
Gotcha. Oh, thank you for the distinction. Wonderful talking with you today. Looking forward next time we get together.
Thank you very much, Steve. I loved speaking with you.
Had a great time.
Thank you.
And we're coming right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.